Dylan, you know this guy Tyler thinks Ad Astra is a top 5 movie all time.
Yes, yeah, he's told me this before. Yes.
Now, see, that's where you're wrong. That was a very emotional, I just got out of the theater type response, okay? I no longer think that.
Well, I'm glad you fixed your opinion since.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the Cinebros podcast. As you may have heard from the cold open, we are going to be debating Ad Astra today. It's a 2019 science fiction movie starring Brad Pitt. And I am a big fan of it, but Ray is unfortunately not, and I'm going to prove him wrong in this episode. We do have Dylan with us again. He will be moderating the debate. Dylan, is this your first time moderating?
Yes, I think this is the first time I've ever moderated anything, but I feel like I'm prepared for this. So.
Okay. All right, awesome. Ray, what are you going to say?
It'll be great, Dylan. I was going to say that nor Tyler or I have rewatched this movie, Tyler, I don't know if you have, but I have not even prepared notes. I'm just going in raw.
Yeah, I'm riffing it.
Also to add on to that, I watched this on HBO, probably the beginning of quarantine was when I watched it. And I'm just to preface everything, I'm kind of on the fence about it. So like I was telling them before this, whoever wins this will be that they'll decide whether or not I rewatch this movie or not. So,
all right, those are fairly high stakes, and I'm ready for it. Dylan, do you want to take us away into the debate?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess like with all the rest of the debate episodes, I'd like to hear some of the opening arguments here, and I'm going to start with Ray first, and then we'll go to Tyler.
Okay.
Let's go. I wanted to start because I don't want to start next round. But Ad Astra was a movie that came out last year. It has a great cast. It has Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones, 2 big stars, right off the bat. And this film is directed by James Gray.
Yeah, something like that.
But, if you'd have asked me who was in this movie other than Brad Pitt, last week before I just looked it up a couple minutes ago, I wouldn't have remembered. That's how forgettable this movie is. And that's going to be, I guess, one of my main arguments of this movie is that it's so forgettable. And that can be credited to the acting, the directing, the writing. I don't know really who the credit goes to that. So I'm going to just talk about it in my opening argument. When I watched Ad Astra, one thing I do remember from the forgettable movie is that the whole entire time I was just so bored, had no emotion from the movie. I feel like it didn't even challenge me to think much. And for me, there was just not enough there. Tyler, according to you, there is something there. I would like to maybe hear some of the things you like about this movie because I don't really like it at all.
Well, see, Ray, here's the thing. You can't remember anybody but Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones because there wasn't really that many people in the movie. And
I didn't even remember that Tommy Lee Jones was in it until I just looked it up earlier, honestly.
He was only in there for like a good 5 minutes or so at the end. Really, Brad Pitt, for the most part, is like the main character of the movie, like the only one that actually matters. And that to me is what is so special about this movie. I'm going to go out on a limb, make a very strong statement. Dylan, you joined us for the 2001 episode. I honestly think that Ad Astra is better than 2001.
Oh, that's a very bold statement.
It is. Now I'm going to double down on it the entire time. So what I liked about this movie and what I like about science fiction in general is it made me feel like I was in a different world with its cinematography, its writing, its acting, its directing. All of that. Now, I will say that this movie does not obey the laws of physics very much at all. It's not very realistic even, but it is a science fiction movie, not a science actuality movie. And I think that works for it. I think that Brad Pitt is fantastic in this movie. I think the cinematography in this movie is gorgeous. Some of the best cinematography I have ever seen. I think the writing, even though it's minimal, is so engaging. And overall, it is just, in my mind, a near perfect science fiction movie. And that will be my opening argument.
All right. Very, very well. All right. We started off strong here. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to round one, which is the writing. So, Tyler, if you'd like to go first.
I certainly would. And the cool thing about the writing in this movie is that it's very minimalistic. It's honestly, this is not to its detriment, but honestly, it could have been written by pretty much anybody. It, at its core, is a story about Brad Pitt's journey to find his father, and for large parts of the movie, he's by himself. He's in his own head. He doesn't have much dialogue with other people. Most of the story is narrated by Brad Pitt, and you are seeing his mind as he envisions these, as he experiences these things. And I found that really, really cool personally. It did what I wish 2001 did. I wish 2001 kind of let you in the characters' heads what they were thinking at the time. But yeah, the writing, like I said, is very simplistic. There's honestly not much to talk about because there's not much there other than I think the core story is very, very strong. I really enjoyed the dynamic that Brad Pitt had with all the characters in his environment, and especially his dad at the end kind of has a strong thematic core of hope versus cynicism and all of this, and you kind of see that come to a head when he finally meets his father at the end of the movie. I think when comparing this to something like 2001 I felt was completely it just showed you. It didn't tell you anything, and showing as opposed to telling is good, and that's what you want in a lot of cases. But for the most part, I felt like Ad Astra combined showing and telling so perfectly that I was never bored like Ray said he was. I was always engaged in the story, the world that was being created around him. And I know earlier I said that it wasn't very realistic, but there was one scene in particular that I thought was very, very realistic in how a human colony on the moon would actually be. And for those that have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. When the moon base shows up, there's corporate advertising everywhere. There's a subway on the moon. And I think we can all get that is definitely something that would happen in real life if there was an actual moon base. The companies would go wild trying to get to it first. And I thought that was a very cool, just world building thing that the writers didn't have to include, but they did. And to me, that shows a lot of care in crafting the world of this movie. And honestly, that's really all I have to say about the writing, because like I said, it's a very simplistic story, but it's executed very well.
Is that all you have to conclude your writing argument?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, Ray, would you like to start off now?
Yes. So, one of my biggest problems with this movie is the writing. Going back to what Tyler said, he says that this movie could be written by anyone. But I think it would have been better if it were written by me. I could have added maybe a little something to the script. One of the problems for me is that there's no lines from the movie that I remember. Sometimes when you're trying to tell somebody what the best, if you're trying to you and somebody are trying to remember a movie, you bring up a line from the movie and maybe that could help you. There's no lines from this movie that I can even remember. And, another thing, me and my friends, I went to see this movie with two of my friends who I watch movies with a lot. And we usually, whenever we get done with the movie, we walk out and we just talk about certain lines that were said or certain parts of the movie that we liked. And I just remember all three of us walking out of it and we were just we didn't talk about the movie at all. We hated it that much. There were no lines that stuck out to us. There's just nothing there. There's no lines, which, is in part due to the acting, not the writing. But I feel that if the lines were written better, maybe there would have been more there. And another thing I have a problem I have with the writing is Brad Pitt spends the entire movie looking for his dad, right? It's the big plot point. And once he gets there, I just feel like they don't do anything cool with him, like finding his dad. His dad he spends his whole journey looking for his dad, just for his dad to die. Spoiler alert. And that just irked me so badly. But, Tyler said that the writing in this movie could have been written by anyone. Our argument is that it could have been written by me, and it would have been better.
He said that they didn't really do anything with his dad along the way. Yeah, and that's true. He does die pretty quickly after showing up. But I argue, like the famous quote, it's about the friends we made along the way. It wasn't about the destination. I thought the story building up to it and him struggling with his father's actions and trying to figure out what he would have done was really, really good. I personally really enjoyed it.
Well, I guess we'll have to agree to disagree.
I think we will.
Okay, does this conclude the writing round? Do you have anything else to say?
I don't.
Okay, all right. I guess we'll move on to round 2, directing. Ray, do you want to start this one since Tyler started the last one?
Yeah, I guess that's only fair. I don't really have much to say for the directing round. This could be a loss for me because, as Tyler was saying earlier, yes, it is a very beautifully shot movie, and that is credited to the director. But I don't really have any shots to take at the director. I guess the director could have had better relationships with the actors, but I mean, Brad Pitt still is a pretty good actor in this movie, but I guess he could have done better with the characters. I don't have any shots to take at the directors. I'm probably going to lose this round. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Tyler.
All right, Tyler.
If he says something.
All right. So I feel like, even Ray said that this is a absolutely gorgeous movie. And I think it is so masterfully directed by James Gray. There is a scene at the beginning of the movie where he is fixing a space station and it explodes. And it's like the very first scene of the movie. And I was so impressed by it. It was so, I don't want to say they're practical without knowing it, but they felt like practical effects. If they were digital effects, I would be very, very impressed even more. But that scene was so well done. The directing was so tight. It felt like you were actually there watching it happen. And, there are other times in the movie where I just I had to stop and just stare at the screen and go, wow. Like the directing had everything perfect. His scenes were constructed so well. His blocking, his camera placement, everything. There's a scene, I can't remember where they were, but it might have been Mars. I can't remember if they went to Mars or not in the movie, but he was in a hallway and it was all red around him. And the camera shot just showed him walking down the hallway. And I literally, my mouth dropped.
I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, my mouth dropped and I was just like, oh, wow, this is great stuff. And even Ray said, I don't think his relationship with Brad Pitt was very bad at all. I thought Brad Pitt did a great job in this movie, which we'll talk about later. Yeah, I don't think the director had any problems with that. Yeah, that's it, really. I thought he directed it masterfully. I thought his technical directing was really, really good. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else could have directed it better than him. He seemed to have a very unique vision and carried it out wonderfully. I don't think I have anything else to say.
To build off what you were saying about the cinematography, Tyler, yeah, I specifically remember the part where are they over a Neptune? Was that the planet they were over where Tommy Lee Jones was? Wasn't he stationed outside of Neptune?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, because I remember the planet was blue and all the shots with where Brad Pitt was just kind of floating around Neptune and stuff like that. I thought was really cool. The coloring and everything was, it looked sci-fi to me. That just looked like classic, something out of a one of those old 1950s sci-fi comic books or something like that is what that reminded me of. Just very, very classical sci-fi. And I do agree. I thought the cinematography was that's the main thing I remember from that movie was the cinematography. So,
yeah.
Okay. So do you guys have it? Okay, go ahead.
Like you said, that was the thing I liked about the movie, it felt like a sci-fi movie. It felt like such a pure sci-fi movie, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have anything else to say about directing?
No, just go ahead and mark me down for a loss for this round, Dylan.
Okay. All right. So we're going on to round 3, which is the acting. And you guys seem to be quarreling between Brad Pitt on this. So I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. So Tyler, do you want to start this round?
Yes, I would, because I want to talk about Brad Pitt. I think we all agree that Brad Pitt is a great actor. And I think that this is one of his best acting performances, honestly. From all of the acting friends that I have, I've heard it is extremely difficult to do scenes by yourself. And when you think about it, that's basically all he does this entire movie. Like, he is by himself and in his own head the large majority of it. And he plays it so well. He plays it as if he's actually living through this time frame of years. And you see how his mentality evolves over the years. And as he gets closer and closer to his goal, I think Brad Pitt shows that very well. His character is written to be fairly emotionless, I think. And I feel that even though the character is played emotionless, Brad Pitt did a good job of conveying the emotion of being emotionless, if that makes any sort of sense whatsoever. I thought that Tommy Lee Jones, when we finally get to see him, it's in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the movie. I thought he was great, honestly, because Tommy Lee Jones is, again, great actor. And I thought their chemistry for the short amount of time they were on the screen it was wonderful, really. It was wonderful. It was a nice payoff to me of the big, long journey that Brad Pitt was on. And looking past them, I can't recall there's any other big name actors in it, because like I said, there aren't many of them in the movie. But overall, the acting in the movie I thought was very solid. There's a scene when they are getting chased by moon pirates on the moon, and I can't remember the character's name, but the astronauts that he's with do a great job of conveying the fear and adrenaline rush of being attacked. So yeah, I thought all the acting was really fantastic, and I really don't understand what Ray's problem with Brad Pitt was in this movie, because I thought he was fantastic.
No, I don't have a problem with Brad Pitt in this movie.
Oh, really?
No, Brad Pitt's you can't really have a problem with Brad Pitt, can you?
I mean, I don't think so.
But I mean, I got problems with other stuff.
Well,
okay, wait, I have a question before you go into that. Can I ask you? I'm going to ask Tyler a question, because this was brought up in the 2001 debate, and assuming that that these movies are very similar. Do you think that anyone else could have played Brad Pitt's role other than Brad Pitt?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No. You're about to lose the acting round for me right here just by saying that.
I only said that because I knew how much you hated him.
No.
Yeah, I mean, there are certainly other people that could have played the part. But I thought Brad Pitt added something very special to it, like a veteran actor giving a very serious performance. I don't know if other actors would have treated it as seriously as he did.
Okay. All right. Now back to Ray. Now, Ray, are you done, Tyler, with the acting? Do you want to add anything else? Okay. Ray, would you like to combat the things Tyler said about the acting?
So, yeah. One of Tyler's things was that he liked the payoff of Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones, their chemistry together. That was a really big problem I had with the movie. I don't really know what it was. I just wanted that whole time with his dad to be done differently. I wanted there to be some kind of big embrace between the two. I wanted the two to have. I feel like there was not good chemistry between the two. I felt like Tommy Lee Jones wasn't even happy to see.
You have to think they haven't seen each other for 40 years or something like that.
Yeah, that was 40 years, I hadn't seen my dad in 40 years, which, I mean, I can't really relate to this because I don't have a dad, but
oh no. Oh,
my mom or something, I hadn't seen her in 40 years, but like I would have missed her so much. Like the first thing I would want to do is like just walk up to her and hug her, and like you don't get any of that emotion from them. Like it's like just Tommy Lee Jones just plays this crazy old like senile old man, and like yeah, I understand he's been in space for all these years, but it is a movie, and the movie in itself is very unrealistic already. So like why not go the extra mile to make it more unrealistic, just to give these two a better on-film relationship?
That's fair. That's a fair point.
And another thing I have problems with in the acting is that like the entire movie, you feel like you're sitting in a classroom. Like they're throwing out all these words that, I don't even know what half of them mean. And there's no emotion behind the delivery of their lines. They're just saying all this informational stuff, your brain with knowledge, and then like there's just nothing. You don't get any feeling from the delivery of the lines because actors are just not putting any emotion behind it. Yeah,
I think
those are two of my main arguments with acting.
But see,
I can't even name another character in this movie besides Tommy Lee Jones and Brad Pitt.
I don't actually remember their names either. To be fair,
and it's like every character is just talking like this the entire time. There's no like, it's like there's not even a change of tone in their voice ever.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed that though. I felt very serene the entire time. Like it was very atmospheric. It was kind of like a Blade Runner movie. Because I'm thinking about like Blade Runner 2049. Kay's voice doesn't change that much. He's fairly monotone as well. I think when you talk like that, it just kind of exacerbates the atmosphere and things. And I think all the characters were like purposely written to be emotionless, because like to be an astronaut, you have to be fairly calm under pressure, and you end up losing a lot of like, human emotions to things like fear or like suspense and things like that.
Yeah,
it's kind of like in First Man with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because he
still like
he played really stoic, and then go ahead, Ray. Sorry.
It goes through some pretty like weird like different situations and scenarios that you would think would raise more emotion out of the characters. But I just feel like it never comes. Like even in when they're fighting the pirates on the moon in that scene, like I was like, okay, cool, we're about to get some action, but the scene just felt boring and felt like it went right along with the rest of the movie in the same tone, and it didn't feel like the tone of the movie was actually going up any.
I don't know. I thought that scene was really good. I thought it was a mix of like suspenseful while still keeping the tone of the movie.
Just didn't do it for me.
When you're talking about the rope, like when they're chasing each other on
they're like on the rovers.
That I can kind of see what you're saying, Ray, because I remember when I was watching that just kind of felt like almost like out of the blue, that the action stuff and people were dying and stuff. That kind of, I mean, I know there was the explosion at the beginning and stuff like that, but I remember when I watched that, I felt like I felt similar to what you said, that it kind of felt like it was out of nowhere. It looked cool. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. It looked really awesome, but that's just my 2 cents. But
I felt like the actors could have been in more of a sense of an urgency, But I mean, I understand. Like back to what Tyler was saying, the astronomers, or astronauts should be, very calm, collected people. But I don't know. I feel like they should have showed a little bit more emotion in that scene.
Yeah, that brings up an interesting point too, because astronauts are supposed to be calm and collective, but when the stakes are that high and it's something that's with that high of an emotional value, like a parent missing for so long, you would think that would interfere with his stoicism about being an astronaut and make him act more brashly, more brash and just totally involved more in like his emotions rather than thinking rationally. So I can kind of see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you guys are saying, but I just think it fits the character for him to be so stoic. And you talk about how it kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, think about it, it's kind of the point. It was a surprise attack. It's supposed to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's true. You guys have anything else to say about the acting?
I've really said my piece. There's not much good acting in this movie aside from Brad Pitt.
Okay, here. I mean, this. I guess this is kind of related. I just wanted to bring this up because I was thinking about it. How do you think this movie held up to its marketing? Because I remember seeing trailers for this movie, and I felt like it depicted a totally different movie than what we actually saw.
I think it held up really well. I think I got out of it exactly what I wanted, at least to me.
I will be honest, I watched the trailer and I didn't have a lot of interest in the movie. I didn't really want to go watch it. The only thing that led me to watch it was Tyler saying that it was in his top 5 all time.
Okay, yeah. I guess I just thought I remember seeing trailers for it in the theaters and stuff, and I thought it was going to be different. But that's interesting that you guys both said that you went into it expecting what you got out of it. But
what did you expect you were going to get?
I thought it was going to be like, to me, the movie, like it was sci-fi, but to me, it felt like it was split down the middle on like wanting to go full sci-fi and then wanting to do like more realistic scientific things. Like it was like a mix of like Interstellar and Gravity is kind of what it reminded me of. Like I felt like it couldn't decide what it wanted to be. I mean, and both sides that they showed, I thought did a great job, but that to me, that was kind of irritating I remember when I was watching it, but man, the visuals were just really something else. Like, yeah, like you said at the beginning with the explosion, that really, that was, I thought that was a great way to start the movie. I was really into it in like the beginning of the movie. I thought that was a great acted, and props and everything. The special effects looked incredible, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. I think the movie is worth watching just for the visuals alone.
Yeah. I would recommend it just based on solely based on the visuals. I would say, because it is a very gorgeous film. It kind of like a painting or like a panel or something. It's really like, because I've seen stills from it on Film Grab, and they're breathtaking. Every still from the movie is just absolutely breathtaking. But who am I to say? So, so do you guys have anything else to say about the acting? I feel like we're kind of going through it quick, but do you guys have anything else?
Well, me and Tyler both knew this was going to be a shorter episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we still get the closing argument. So
yeah, we do.
Okay, so I guess we'll go on to the closing arguments. Ray, do you want to go?
So to close with what I've already said, I haven't said much, but I feel like I haven't been able to say much because I didn't do a rewatch, and I felt like if I would have done a rewatch, it might have helped my case a little bit, especially in the directing realm. But being honest, I didn't want to rewatch this movie just because I didn't want to sit through the boring 2 hours or however long it is again. I know it's well over 2 hours. It felt longer than that. This movie, in fact, is so boring to me that it feels like it's almost a 3-hour long movie. But I opened up with talking about this movie being super forgettable. And as me and Tyler were arguing, this definitely supports the fact that the movie is super forgettable, because I can't really remember a lot of the movie to even argue back with Tyler. I do remember some of it. I was able to get some in. But Ad Astra is just a boring and very unforgettable movie that I would never recommend to anyone.
Wow. Okay. All right. Very Bold words. Are you ending your closing argument with that? All right.
Yes.
All right, Tyler, do you want to go?
Yeah.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I would. I think the point that we just closed the acting round with is a really good place to start off for the closing argument, because I think that this movie should just be watched for its visuals alone. If you enjoy movies, I think you will like this movie. I think you will like the technical ability that the director put into it. It is a very well-made movie. Yes, the story is simplistic. Yes, there's not much acting past Brad Pitt, but I think it all comes together to work very, very well. And like I mentioned earlier, it just feels like a truly science fiction movie to me. I loved the visuals of it. It drew me into the world. Even though this world is so outlandishly unrealistic, it made it feel real. It made it feel like something that could happen, even though I knew that it was mainly just a facade. That's something that could never happen. Yeah, this movie to me, it's one of those movies that just makes me feel good because of its atmosphere. As someone that loves sci-fi movies, I loved this one, and I thought it did a great job of, coming up with a good sci-fi atmosphere. It had great acting, great directing, the works, and that's my closing argument.
All right, I haven't tallied up everything. I mean, I kind of have. Let me try to convey everything here that I have written down, and then I will give the results. Let me think here for a second. It's a lot. I've never done anything like this, so I gotta process this. All right. So, all right, the results are in. All right. So, do you want me to go over just like one by one each round? Who I picked one and why?
Yeah.
You don't even have to tell us why if you don't want. You can just tell us who won each.
Okay. All right. So for the opening argument, I had Tyler written down,
Yep.
Mainly because he had more to say, and I was pretty engaged with what he was saying compared to what Ray was saying, and I was relating a lot to what Tyler was saying about the movie, and I started remembering things about it. For the writing round, the next round, I have Ray as the winner.
Sheesh. I did not think I was going to win a round,
Wow.
honestly.
I had Ray writing it because that there was the thing mentioned about could be written by anyone, and how he was complaining about the
Man, that point really worked against me, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that was my entire strategy for this debate. I was like, dude, I've got nothing for this. I'm honestly just going to hope he says something stupid and try and feed off of it. Tyler had me for a second, but then he was talking about the minimalistic and the simplicity of the writing, and then Ray was talking about how it was hard to remember things from it and it was kind of boring, and I agreed with Ray on that, and especially when he was talking about the writing at the end with where Brad Pitt finds his dad, I thought was very anticlimactic when I watched it, and it reminded me of that. So I had Ray winning the writing round. The directing round, the next round, I have Tyler winning. Yeah, I had Tyler winning this.
Ray,
because,
you basically conceded it.
I gave it to you.
You did.
I mean, I think it's really it's extremely hard to debate against this movie, because that is the one thing that I remember for this movie was how incredible everything looked. Like it was just so stunning to look at visually. And I don't know anything else that guy who directed it has done, but I don't know if he's like a new director or he's been doing stuff for a while. But
he did something else. Let me look it up real quick. He did something else big. Little Odessa. Yeah.
Little Odessa. Yeah. I don't think. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard of that. But
is it old? Oh, Lost City of Z. That's another one.
Oh, okay.
That's the one with Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson's in that too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has competed 4 times for the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival.
Wow. Okay. So he's definitely got his chops. All right. So we're going on to the acting round. And this is probably going to come to a surprise to you guys, but I had Ray winning the acting round.
Oh,
What?
just to get beat in the closing argument. I should have went harder in the closing argument. Dang.
Yeah, I had Ray winning. I was thinking a lot about like what you guys said and what when I watched the movie. I know, yeah, and I had it written down here that Tyler, you kept talking about how great Brad Pitt was, and like how he played the emotionalist character. And I love Brad Pitt as an actor, but I think that being stoicism is not his strong suit. And
it was the Leonardo DiCaprio comment, wasn't it?
No. It really wasn't. Yeah, it really wasn't the Leonardo DiCaprio comment. But and I agreed with what Ray said about the chemistry between him and between Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones, because the whole movie is leading up to that point, and I was really disappointed by that, and would have liked to have seen, like, that is the scene that should have been extremely emotional. If the rest of the movie wasn't going to be that is the scene that it should have been super emotional. I liked what Ray said about the whole movie is like sitting in a classroom and there's like no emotion like in any of the dialogue. And I think that is a very fitting way of describing that movie, because I was thinking about that, like sitting back and watching it, like whenever they're talking in the briefing room before that was I did not like that scene at all. Like, it was just not. It was very boring. Like, I felt like I was being lectured to as an audience member. But okay, so it's tied right now, and
this is certainly an uncertain result. I was not expecting this.
Yeah, I mean, I have the closing arguments. I have the closing arguments as Ray. And Ray won.
What?
Yeah.
No way!
Yeah. I mean, I have my notes written down here. If you would like for me to explain the reason why.
Yes, I would love to.
Okay.
This is a shock. This might be the biggest upset of this podcast so far.
Yeah. I mean, I thought, whenever when Tyler said it should be watched for the visuals alone, I know I said that, but then I got back to thinking about that.
Hang on, Dylan. Hang on. Before you say what you're about to say, I was like, dang it, man. After he just said that, I really wanted to add that I understand the visuals of this movie are really good, but there needs to be more to the movie to me than just the visuals. I feel like that's what you were about to say. That's why I chimed in.
Yeah. Because I have this written down here where you said it should be watched the visuals alone, and I'm not knocking the visuals in the movie. The visuals are absolutely incredible, but I don't think that like what you said. I don't think that's a reason just to watch a movie. It's just solely based on the visuals.
Dylan, you're supposed to be on my side with these things.
I mean, he brought some great points. I mean, I was really torn on the fence about this movie, and about how he said he didn't want to sit through the movie again because it felt like it was 3 hours and it was super forgettable and he couldn't remember a whole lot of things to talk about. And I got to thinking about it, and really the things that I remembered the most about this movie were just like visuals, or where there wasn't dialogue or scenes like that. So I had to go with that, because I think you both put together very eloquent arguments. But yeah, I don't think I want to rewatch this now. So I'm sorry, Tyler.
Wow,
Tyler, you got to title this episode.
I'm devastated.
You have to title it "The Biggest Upset in Cinebros History?"
That could be a good one. That'll be good.
Yeah. So this is probably the only time I'll ever be a judge on this podcast again. But it was fun. Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. Harrington. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that is fun.
But
you just shocked me. You literally just shocked me.
We were both shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, you guys did both a good job of arguing, because, like, you go. The only thing I would say was the obviously the directing round, because Ray, you kind of forfeited that round, but
I still won.
Yeah, I mean,
woe is me.
You guys,
woe is me.
Yeah, I mean, you guys both did a great job arguing. I think your arguments have gotten even better as like the podcast has moved on from what I've been listening to. So keep it up, guys.
Right. Yeah, and with that, we are going to go to sponsor break, and we'll come back with a story for you guys.
He's one of my best friends. He and I are in a band together, and he's also my roommate. Luke knows him. So he went to Florida like this summer with his girlfriend, and they rented an Airbnb down there at the beach. And he told me that like once he got there, like a bunch of really weird stuff happened. Like he would always wake up in the morning at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and stuff would be moving around or something. He'd hear stuff moving around, and it was just him and his girlfriend. There wasn't anyone there. And he said this was like before the last night. I think it was before the last night. There was like someone in the kitchen, like fiddling with a drawer full of silverware and it woke him up. And he got up and like looked and turned the lights on in the kitchen. There wasn't anyone in there. And the drawer was closed, and he went back to bed, and it started again, and it was louder. And he said he rolled over and the door in his bedroom was like half open. And he said that there was someone standing there, like he could see half of their body because the door was blocking half of it. And it was just this giant white figure with almost like giant mosquito-like eyes. And he immediately woke his girlfriend up, and he looked back, and it just slid away like past the door, and it was gone. And so he was freaking out from it. He was like waking her up. Yeah, dude, he was freaking. He's like, we have to leave right now. Like we've got to get out of here. Screw the rest of the vacation. We're leaving. And she was like, oh no, I want to go back to bed. It's probably nothing. He said he didn't sleep the rest of that night, but he's told me some other stuff, like spooky stuff like that before, where he's seen some weird, unexplained like things like that. I don't know what he saw. It didn't even sound like it was a ghost. It sounded like it was like some sort of like shapeshifter or something like that. It's so he knows that I'm scared by stuff like that. So I get
scared about stuff like that too.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. Interdimensional beings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there was that.
For that matter.
Yeah.
Out too.
Oh yeah. I'm horrified of ghosts and like demons and stuff like that. But I'll try to think of like another quick funny one, because that one was kind of short. Okay, yeah. This just happened recently. This was at I don't think I'll get in trouble for saying this. This happened at school. This is at UK. He and I are at UK, and all semester, man, like the people above us have just made constant noise the whole time, to like where we can't go to sleep. Like, do you live in a dorm, Tyler?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Like when people, did you have people above you that are like, you know what it's like when someone's like loud in the dorms, right?
Like we're pretty cool about it, but like I don't think I've really had I don't think I've ever had really any problems with it. But I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Dude, it is the most annoying sound. Like it's like they're walking, but it's like it sounds like they're stomping, and it echoes throughout the room when they stomp on the ground all throughout our dorm. Annoying. Yeah, and it's just constant. There's chairs being like dragged around and stuff like that, and there's been nights like where I haven't been able to sleep from it, and so this was just recently too. So we were, guys, this just recently happened. So this one morning, I was used to it. I mean, I'm kind of used to it now. It was so bad that it woke him up at like 10 in the morning, and he was so, I've never seen him angry before. I mean, he looked like the Incredible Hulk. Like he was, yeah, there was like, you could see like the veins like in his head from where his head was so red, and he looked like he was just going to explode. Funny. And he stood up on one of our chairs in our common area and just beat the hell out of the ceiling to get them to stop, because they were being so loud. And they stopped for a second, and then they did it back, like the exact same noise that he made. And he did it again, and we started laughing at that point. Like I was like, surely they get the memo that like they're being too loud, and we put up with it all semester. So I'm eating my cereal at the table, and 5 minutes later, someone is just like, it sounds like someone is trying to beat our door down to our dorm. And we figured that it was like the RA or someone, because, you know, that was like a community disturbance or whatever. And he looked through the people, and he's like, dude, it's the people above us. Because there were it's two girls that are above us. And it was one of the girls. He opened the door, and he was like, can I help you? And you're gonna have to bleep this out. And she's like, what is your fucking problem, guys? Why are you making so much noise and stuff like that? And he was like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? He's like, you have kept this up for almost 2 months now because of how loud you're being. He's like, I did that to make you guys stop. And she was like going on and like saying she was trying to vacuum or something like that. And he was like, no, like there was, you could tell there was not, we would be able to hear it if there was a vacuum going on. There was like jumping and stomping, and it was like a Mario Bros level up there or something. Like people were just going crazy. And she like was, of course, immediately hostile, like cursing at him. He said she was only wearing a bathrobe too. Like, I mean,
it makes it better,
dude. It was, it was. And she kept like going on about it, saying like, I don't even fucking have a roommate. She lives off campus. And he's like, that doesn't even make sense, because there's 2 names above the door upstairs, and there's noise coming from both rooms. So unless you can somehow be in 2 places at the same time, then that's impossible. And she was going on. She's like, well, yeah, you're just full of shit and stuff like that. And he was getting really fed up with it. And I didn't see any of this because I was like, I could see the door, but I couldn't see her. I was eating my cereal.
But could you hear it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I could hear it. I was right next to the door.
And you just sat there eating your cereal like nothing was going on.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, like what do I do? And he got really fed up with it at the end. And I guess she wasn't wearing her mask over her nose. And like all the buildings at UK, you have to wear the mask. Like you have to fully wear the mask over the nose. And she like cursed at him so much. And he's like, by the way, the mask goes over your nose, you fucking moron. And he closed the door. No, that's not even the best part. She tried to stop him from closing the door and tried to get in our room. And he had to like shoulder into the door to make it stop. And then like she was like screaming, like crying. She was like, I'm the RA, you fuckers, like stuff like that, like running away. Oh man, it was just funny. Like we just laughed after that. We're like, did that really just happen? And so like a couple of days go by, and they filed a complaint against the school against us, saying that we were making noise. And oh man, I was so mad when I saw that. I was like, you've got to be joking. And so we had to go, like the RAs from our school had to like contact us. And, you know, we had evidence. We had like filmed them with like the noise that they were making and stuff like that. And I told them that you know, I wasn't even involved in it. First off, I was just eating cereal. Like I had nothing to do with it. I just watched it. So they like, it was like a charge that they put on me from the school. And they charged me, and then they dropped the charge. And then I don't know. I guess it's, you know, it's still kind of going on. I think that we're going to win it because we have the, you know, or that he's going to be okay because of what happened, you know, and she was immediately hostile. But that is one of the funniest and weirdest things I've ever been involved with. So yeah.
That sounds hilarious. And I
think what would happen if that happened to your roommate.
Yeah. Well, like what I was telling him, I was like, I brought this up in our RA meeting. I was like, dude, if I went up there in only my bathrobe and I try to stop those girls from closing their door to their apartment, I was like, I would be arrested and I would be kicked out of the school for that, because that would be like a charge. Yeah, I would be charged with assault, like sexual harassment for that. So I don't know. Like I couldn't attest to the bathrobe thing when they asked me about it, because I didn't see her because the door was blocking her. But I mean, he's never lied to me about anything before, and I mean, I believe it just based on her personality and how she presented herself at our door. I believe it. But oh man, crazy stuff like that happens all the time there. So yeah, that's the most recent funny thing that's happened to me.
I can only imagine what would happen if that happened to me and my roommate. I could not contain myself. I would be in tears. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, I was trying not. Yeah, I mean, I really had to like hold it together. Like right when the door opened, and she was like, "Problem!" Like I had to try so hard not to laugh at that, because it was so unexpected. I didn't expect her to sound that way, and her to immediately just to like explode on him like that, and not doing it like cordially at all or respectfully. But man, the look on his face was so funny too. Like when she opened the door, he was shocked. I can
only imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was already like pissed. Like that was not the day to like tick him off. And like we always say that like that would be like that's his like fighting catchphrase. Like, can I help you? Like, so we always say that all the time. Can I help you? Like those are famous fighting words. So
good stories, Dylan.
That's funny. That was good. That was real good. That's one of my favorites we've told so far.
I will say I like the first one better. The first one kind of creeps me out a little bit. Gave me chills for a second.
Yeah, but with that, we're going to bring this episode to a close. We hope you've enjoyed this slightly shorter debate episode. But if you enjoyed it, you can follow us on social media at Cinebros P on Twitter, Cinebros Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. We have our own subreddit at r/Cinebros Podcast. And if you're not watching on YouTube, we have our own YouTube channel at Cinebros. Be sure to look out for our yellow reel icon. Anyone have anything else to say?
Thank you guys for having me to moderate.
Of course.
That was fun.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right, Dylan, I always do consider you a member of the Cinebros.
Thank you. I don't know, based on my performance today, I don't know if that's going to hold up.
Oh, no, I loved your performance.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I've got some criticisms personally, but
yeah, that's fair point. Yeah.
All right, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.